I was on my way to the library on last Thursday, and I was passing by this Arabone store. And outside of this Arabone store that many of these Negroes like to frequent, one of these Negroes had his pit bull sitting out on the sidewalk with no leash and just sitting out there for anybody who passed by could have run into this dog, and they could have been attacked by it. And I had walked by it, and luckily, thank God, it didn't attack me. And as I was walking by, two police officers were coming by, and the two police officers then walked into the foreign-owned store to inquire about the dog. And when I saw that happen, I said to myself, you know, this Negro is setting himself up for catching a case. And this is something I see in my neighborhood all the time. What these Negroes do is that they do things, stupid things, and they set themselves up for catching a case. And this was a prime example of it. And seeing this guy, because what he wanted to do by having this pit bull sitting outside of the foreign-owned store was send a message to people that he was some sort of thug, some sort of bad boy, and everybody was supposed to see him because I've seen guys do this all the time in my neighborhood here in the South Bronx. Where this is what they do. I'll see guys walking around with dogs off the leash, trying to walk with their shirts off, with their six pack showing, trying to show off and trying to play bad boy, tough guy, all because they think that they're going to get the attention of some woman, and some female in the neighborhood is going to see them and think that they're so macho and such a bad boy. Um, so they walk around like this, not understanding that having a dog off the leash is against the law, and having your dog sitting out on the sidewalk is not only a hazard for people, but a hazard for the animal itself. Because what if the animal runs and sees a squirrel or a bird, decides, you know what, I'm going to go, because this is what dogs do. They chase birds and they chase squirrels and they chase other small animals, and it runs into the street and gets hit by a car. But this flies over the head of many of these. It just flies over the head of these dysfunctional Negro males and some of these Hispanic males, and they don't think about the consequences of their actions. Again, they don't understand that for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and that you don't leave an animal out in the street like this so that you can show out, or you don't walk a dog off the leash so that you can play Mr. Bad Boy and Mr. Tough Guy, so that you can get the attention of chicken-headed females. And it doesn't make any sense to do this, because you're putting your animal at risk and you're putting other people at risk. And more importantly, you're setting yourself up to be an easy collar for a police officer, because again, walking the dog off the leash is against the law. That's $1,000 fine right there. And what really jams these guys up with their attempts to simp and trick with these females is that they don't understand, again, those consequences of their actions and how it leads to a slippery slope. Because if this officer sees you with this dog off the leash and he gives you a ticket for $1,000 fine, a lot of these guys, they really can't even afford kibbles and bits for these dogs, without their mom paying for it. They come in with this ticket for $1,000 fine, they throw it in the garbage, they don't show up for court, and what happens is that very same ticket that he blew off in his attempt to fly for these honeys turns into a warrant, and then the police officers were gonna. I mean, the thing would have probably been dismissed if he had went for the ticket, and would only went for the ticket. Now it turns into a warrant for his arrest for failure to appear in court, and that, if those officers do catch him the second time, that turns into 6 months in a place like Rikers Island, where he waits for his case, because that's how he catches the case to come up. And if he's lucky, he may get may get released after that 6 months in jail. But the sad part is that this guy winds up losing so much time out of his life over something silly and something stupid. And the reason why he's doing all these silly and stupid things is because he wants to impress one of these big butt women out here and try to impress on them that he's some sort of thug and some sort of bad boy, when in actuality he's just showing the world what a simp he actually is. Because only simps need to do things like walk around with their shirt off, showing their six pack, with a pit bull behind them to play tough guy. Only simps need to have, dogs sitting outside on the sidewalk to play bad boy. Only simps need to do stuff like driving around in an Escalade with 26-inch rims and a stereo pumping. And the reason why these guys have to do this stuff is because they have no personality, they have no self confidence, they have no sense of self worth. So they have to go out and use these gimmicks to get the attention of women and to get the attention of people around them because they don't have any personality, charisma, or presence to, carry themselves and attract people to themselves naturally. So they need, again, these gimmicks to get the attention of people. And this is how these guys really mess themselves up because what they don't understand is that once you get a record in the system, and especially if you get a felony on your system, you've pretty much messed your life up for good because all you need is a felony conviction to pretty much ruin your life. And you wind up on the road to a felony conviction faster when you do stupid stuff like walking dogs off leashes or driving around in cars with a stereo blasting. You pretty much put a target on your back as a black person, letting the world know, you know, here, I'm an easy caller. You're telling police officers I'm an easy caller. This is easy money. You know, this ticket, you just gave them an easy $1,000. You helped this guy meet his ticket quota, and you helped him meet everything that he needs to do because you want to impress a female who doesn't really care. And I'm going to tell you right now, many of these simps who walking around with their shirts off and walking pit bulls behind them or walking dogs off leashes, many of these women you're trying to impress just don't care. Many of these people who you so-called trying to intimidate just don't care. And this whole way of you guys thinking that this thug mentality, is going to make you look like a bad boy, more and more people don't care. If you look at the cases of your Michael Browns, your Trayvon Martins, and your Eric Garners, people are not afraid of, bad boys anymore. They're not afraid, especially in the case of Michael Brown, you know, people are not afraid of thugs anymore. So this is white, black, Hispanic. Nobody's afraid of a thug anymore. Nobody is scared of a thug anymore, except another Negro. The rest of the world sees a thug as a joke because they look at him, the only places he terrorizes is his own community. The only places he tears apart are his own community. And he lives up under women and tries to get, power and points from women. So no, most of the world looks at that guy and he goes, that's a weak man because everything he does is about appeasing women and pleasing women and making women happy. He's not about, doing the things that men do. Men with true power and, have abilities, what they do is they're not trying to impress a female. They're not trying to win the attention of a female. They know if they go out and accomplish the goals that they wish to set for themselves, the women will come to them. And they don't need to wind up getting themselves into a heap of trouble just to get the attention of a woman or get the pity of a woman. And this is something that, these guys just don't understand. They run around thinking that these gimmicks and these hustles are going to get them the attention of women, and then they wind up getting themselves in jams. And then people have to wind up, they think that this is all that there's some sort of conspiracy to destroy black people, but it's the little things that many Negroes do that prevent them from, from accomplishing anything. I mean, I looked at that when I walked by that on my trip to the library, and I said, this guy pretty much is on his way to catching a case. And I said, it's the little stuff like this that, really does damage to black boys and the black men because there's nobody there to sit down and teach this guy, when you have a pet, you don't use the pet as a gimmick to try to perpetuate an image of toughness or bad boy or, that type of image. You have the pet because you love the pet and you want to care for it. And that's why you have the pet. And the pet is your responsibility. And by you leaving it on the sidewalk with no leash on it, just sitting on the sidewalk, what that's saying is a message that you're not a very responsible person. You are pretty much very immature, and that you're not ready to do even the basic things that a small boy can do. And the sad part is, this was probably a grown man who left this dog out here like this. Because I've seen mostly it's these grown men, some of them even as old as 40 and 50 years old, leaving these dogs out here like this or walking them off the leash and trying to play, again, still trying to play bad boy, still trying to play thug, still dressing like overgrown children, and still playing like life is still some sort of child's playground. And you know, it just saddened me to see it. And then thank God there were two police officers there to actually see this and try to do something about it, because this guy pretty much, he could have been on the hook not only for if his dog could have been killed, or he could have been, or something else could have badly happened. But it just happened. It just shows, the way we're raising boys is not helping them become responsible and capable men. Because I looked at that situation, I said, as I said again, this guy's going to catch a case because of his behavior, and all the things I outlined. This is how these guys catch cases, um, because they do dumb stuff like this. They do stupid things like this. You know, little things like walking the dog off the leash, not cleaning up after a dog, driving around in these boom cars, walking around, with open containers and of malt liquor and stuff. Smoking. I've even seen guys smoking weed on the street, and they're thinking that they're looking tough. They're thinking they're looking bad, and all they're doing is showing people, how weak and submissive they truly are, and they're setting themselves up for a complete road to failure. This is how guys wind up with. This is how misdemeanors turn into felonies. This is how felonies ruin the lives of many black men, because they don't really sit down and think about their actions or the cause and effect of actions, or they don't think about, you know, if I'm out here doing this, this may lead to this, and they don't understand that, a simple situation like this could wind up with him being either in handcuffs or 6 feet under, and that's just something, your average black male doesn't think about, and they really need to start thinking about it, because this is the stuff that really derails a lot of our guys before they even get on track. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.